This is a Roper Whitney MAGNABEND. It's a 110 volt electromagnetic brake. I think every NASCAR team in the nation has one in their shop. If they don't, they need to get one. But it's a real mechanics tool. It's about 4 or 5 machines in one. I can bend metal on this. I can use it as a straight brake. I can use it as a box and pan brake. I can use it as a cheek bender, a cleat bender. I can roll metal on this machine. And again, it's a very versatile machine. Just a brief history on the machine itself. It was invented by an Australian that was into ornamental metalworking. And he was trying to do something on a box and pan brake one day, and the machine got in the way. And he couldn't complete the bend as to whatever it may have been, and he thought, why doesn't someone come up with a machine that isn't always in the way? He invented this, and Roper Whitney bought the manufacturing rights to it, if my memory serves me correctly, in about 1982. But nevertheless, what we have here is a 110 volt electromagnetic brake, and the clamping action is the magnet to the steel keepers. The MAGNABEND comes with 11 different keepers, everything from a 51 1/4 inch keeper that sets up on a spring-loaded ball bearing in a graduated slot, down to a little 3/4 inch keeper that can make up 51 1/4 inches again, so that there's almost no stretch we cannot get to in a little bit more than 4 feet. The 52 inch keeper sets up on this spring-loaded ball bearing for 2 obvious reasons. Number 1, being able to get the metal under the keeper, and number 2, being able to move away from or to the brake point, depending on the gauge or the thickness of the metal that one is working with. So as I put the metal under the keeper, I'll push a button to activate the magnet. Once I get a hold of the bending handle, that has activated a micro switch. I can let go of the button then and go ahead and make my bend. Now you'll also notice that there is somewhat of a degree finder on the handle. So if I had 50 pieces that I had to kick up or down at 45 degrees, I could set that stop in that keeper, and that would save me some time in having to read a protractor or a degree finder. As the handle goes back down, the magnet disengages, the keeper pops back up, and I can pull my metal out or go to the next station. All right. Now, as I said, it comes with 11 different keepers, so we can set that large keeper off and utilize any of the other keepers required to get the job done. Let's say, for the sake of demonstration, that I wanted to make a box. I would simply utilize any of the other keepers required to fill out the stretch of this box. But the advantage of the MAGNABEND versus a standard box and pan brake is that, as you can see, the keepers or fingers would be on the inside of the box rather than the outside of the box. With the standard box and pan brake, on our 22 gauge box and pan brake, I would be limited to 3 inches in height. On a 16 gauge box and pan brake, I would be limited to 4 inches in height, which is the depth of the fingers themselves. But again, as you can see, the keeper is on the inside, or the fingers are on the inside of the box, so I have unlimited height on a box or a pan. We don't have to be concerned also about having a keeper or fingers totally joined together, as the bend does not seem to be affected if there's a little space between the fingers. So as I say, there's almost no stretch that one cannot get to in 4 feet or a little bit better. If there was, I could take one of these keepers and take it to my local machine shop, or right here in Metalcraft Tools Training Center where we're today, and cut down a keeper to meet the particular job or configuration. So again, it's a very versatile machine. One would, at this point, would have had to walk to a separate machine or a different machine in order to get this very crude box that I'm making complete. Now, as you can see here, if this was a standard box and pan brake, where the fingers or keepers are on the outside of the box, the furthest that I could go with the final flange or wall of this box would be 45 degrees, or I would have been stopped right here because the box would have been on the outside of the machine. Again, the keepers are on the inside of the machine so I can complete the bend. So it is a straight brake, a box and pan brake. It is an open-throated machine, so if I had the throat of a square elbow cheek, I could take it down to one end of the machine and fold the cheek up, or the throat, take it down the other end of the machine and fold up the other side of the throat. One thing I had mentioned is that you can roll metal on this machine. To do that, we would get ourselves a pipe, preferably a solid pipe. This one is not, but it's close. But if I wanted to make a half-inch bend, I would get a half-inch pipe. If I wanted to make a 2-inch round, I would get a 2-inch pipe. And then I would take this large keeper and turn it upside down to back up the pipe that we're going to use to attempt to roll metal. All right, then we would move that up to the break point. And if I wanted this to come out perfectly, or as close to perfect as I'm capable of, I would put myself a prick punch or a scribe mark on this metal. But we can do enough here to give you the idea. So I would start the metal underneath the pipe, get myself a starting point, push the button, start up with the handle and the apron and wrap the metal right around the pipe. As you know, that when we let the handle down, the apron releases the magnet. It releases so that we can roll the metal back underneath the pipe. And we'll continue to do this until we have achieved somewhere close to what we're after. Now, the advantage of rolling a piece of metal, again on a Roper-Whitney MAGNABEND, is that I can actually do a full 360 degrees. So again, this is a very versatile machine. As we said, it's a straight 4-foot brake. It's a box and pan brake. It's a cheek bender, it's a cleat bender, it's a roller, and it's a real mechanics tool. The more things that I find that I can do on this machine where I was either blocked out on another or had to walk to 3 or 4 different machines in order to complete, I think makes the machine also a time and labor saver. So one thing we had not mentioned, and this might be a good time to say, that the machine is rated for a full 4 foot of 18 gauge mild steel. But because it is a 110 volt electromagnet, one might think that that it would be for steel only, but it makes no difference what I put in the machine. It does not seem to filter out the magnet to the steel keeper effect. In fact, what we're working with here appears to be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe an 063 aluminum. So again, we can bend steel and up to a full 4 foot of 18 gauge. We can bend aluminum, copper. I've even bent some lead with these machines to prove that the magnet would not be filtered out.